Yui Hirasawa has just started high school and is unsure whether she should join a club or not. Meanwhile, Ritsu Tainaka tries to persuade her friend Mio Akiyama to join the light music club, only to discover that it will be disbanded if 4 members are not recruited. With Ritsu and Mio as the initial members, they persuade Tsumuji Kotobuki, who had originally planned to join the choir club, to join them. In their search for a 4th member, the 3 each post a poster for the club, which attracts Yui's attention. Yui submits a form after misinterpreting the term light music, only to discover that they are looking for someone to play the guitar, which she cannot play. Despite this, the 3 members try to get Yui to stay, and after playing a short piece for her, Yui decides to join the club and learn the guitar, which she first has to buy. As Yui and the others shop for a guitar, Yui is drawn to a Gibson Les Paul but finds it more expensive than her 50,000 yen allowance. To supplement their income, the girls decide to work part-time as traffic survey counters. After 2 days, with insufficient funds for Les Paul, Yui suggests that the others keep what they have earned and that she purchase a less expensive guitar. Tsumuji, who turns out to be the daughter of the music store's company president, manages to haggle with the shopkeeper and convince him to let Yui buy it for 50,000 yen. Yui and the girls are now taking their midterm exams. Unfortunately, Yui spends her time practicing her guitar chords rather than studying, and she ends up failing. If she fails the retest, she will be unable to participate in club activities, and the club will be forced to disband due to a lack of members. A day before the retest, Yui still has not been able to study much and begs Mio, Tsumuji, and Ritsu to help her. Mio comes through, while Ritsu is more of a hindrance than a help. Yui, exhausted from the retest, returns to the club room with perfect marks. To commemorate the occasion, the girls request that Yui play the guitar chords she had learned, only to discover that Yui has completely forgotten them. Mio finds a box filled with stuff from the previous light music club in the club room, including a cassette tape of the previous club's performance at the school festival. Mio is inspired after hearing it to rally the gang for summer rehearsals for the upcoming school festival. Concerned about the cost, the girls turn to Tsumuji, who happens to own a villa along the coast. They take the train to Tsumuji's beachside villa, where Mio is determined to practice, but she is outnumbered and ends up messing around with the girls instead. After eventually getting some practice done in the evening, Mio is awed by the sight of Yui playing guitar in front of some fireworks. Mio confesses to the others that she wants them to be as good as the old light music club, playing the cassette tape for them. The light music club remains unofficially recognized because they failed to submit a club form months ago and have yet to find an advisor. The girls seek the advice of music teacher Sawako Yamanaka. Though she initially refuses, it is discovered that she was a member of the previous light music club as a death metal fan, which Ritsu uses to blackmail her into becoming the advisor. As the club still requires a vocalist and lyrics, Mio writes Light and Fluffy Time, which is accepted despite Ritsu's protests. Since Mio is too embarrassed to sing, Yui offers instead, but she cannot sing and play guitar simultaneously. Sawako teaches her to do so, but after all the training, she loses her voice. With only 3 days left to the school festival, Mio must perform the vocals herself. On the day of the school festival, an anxious Mio wants to practice for the club's live event, but everyone else is obligated to help with their class's other stands. They later get some practice done, but Mio is still nervous about the singing center stage, with Sawako's costume choices not helping her mood. Ritsu holds a mock concert introduction to calm Mio's nerves. Although she still has jitters when the concert starts, the others encourage Mio to do her best, having seen her practicing diligently beforehand. Though the show manages to become successful, Mio trips over the guitar cable as she leaves the stage, accidentally exposing her underwear to the audience. She ends up getting a fan club but is traumatized by her embarrassment. Yui's sister Yui Hirasawa remembers how Yui once attempted to give her a white Christmas when they were little, by putting pillow stuffing on the tree outside. Ritsu decides to hold a Christmas party for the club, and while her initial plans of holding it at Tsumuji's house fail, they eventually decide to have it at Yui's house while Yui's parents are on vacation. Yui's friend Nodoka Manabe also gets an invitation. The girls decide to hold a gift exchange at the party and go shopping for various gifts. Yui prepares a lovely Christmas dinner for the group, which gets a little out of hand when Sawako shows up out of nowhere. After the gift exchange, Yui and Ui end up giving each other just the right warm accessories for the winter. After the rest of the group leaves, snow falls and Ui decide to sleep together, though, unfortunately for Yui ends up hogging the sheets. Yui enters Yui's school as a freshman, as well as her classmate Azusa Nakano. When the class arrangements are announced, Yui, Tsumugi, and Ritsu end up in the same class, while Mio ends up in a different class with Nodoka. The group puts up with Sawako's ideas of promoting the club by dressing them up as animals, even though it seems to be having the opposite effect. Yui and her classmate, Jun Suzuki, visit the club only to find everyone dressed as maids, but the girls soon change into tracksuits after finding it impossible to play while wearing maid outfits. Meanwhile, Azusa walks around looking for a club that is right for her, initially passing up the light music club because they lack seriousness. The light music club gets ready for another live performance at the freshman welcome assembly, but Mio is still too embarrassed to do the vocals, so Yui does them instead. Azusa officially joins the club but is surprised to discover that everyone is drinking tea and eating cake rather than practicing. When Sawako tells her off for actually practicing, she yells at them, but Yui manages to calm her down with an unexpected tactic. Despite her objections, Azusa succumbs to Tsumugi's tea and cakes. Yui is surprised that Azusa is a much better guitarist than she is. Sawako brings a pair of cat ears for Azusa to wear, much to Azusa's discomfort, leading Yui to give her the nickname Azunayan, as Nyan is the Japanese counterpart of meow. Mio encourages the band to practice more after noticing Azusa is upset, but the group quickly reverts to its lazy state. Azusa is then irritated, wondering why the band members she admired during the live performance act the way they do. After Azusa expresses her dissatisfaction, Mio explains that she stays in the band because they enjoy performing together and because they like each other, persuading Azusa to stay. Azusa and Yui meet for the first time for lunch, later joined by a stealthy Ritsu. Yui and Ritsu invite Sawako to their next training camp, but she declines. The group arrives at a larger villa than last year, though Tsumugi apologizes that it is still not as large as she had hoped. Yui and Ritsu want to play, while Mio and Azusa want to practice, but Tsumugi votes in favor of playing. Despite her objections, Azusa ends up having the most fun, even getting sunburned in the process. Ritsu suggests a bravery test after practice, dinner, and fireworks, and Mio and Azusa are taken aback by Sawako's sudden appearance. Azusa discovers Yui practicing the guitar in the middle of the night, and the two become friends. Azusa sees Yui again and tells him that, despite not practicing much, she enjoyed the trip because she learned more about the group. When Ritsu reminds Nodoka to fill out the stage use application form ahead of time, the band members notice they don't yet have a name. Azusa examines the rust on Yui's guitar strings and discovers that Yui has never given her guitar any attention. They bring it to a guitar shop, where Mio is captivated by rare left-handed bass guitars. Yui realizes after the guitar is repaired that she must pay for the maintenance service, but she has not brought any money with her. Tsumugi offers to pay instead, but the shopkeeper refuses to accept her money and tells her to consider it a free service. Later, Ritsu becomes envious of Mio's time with Nodoka and begins to disagree with her. She develops a fever, so Mio pays her a visit and smooths things over, later joined by the other girls. Back at school, a rehabilitated Ritsu gets in trouble for not submitting the application form on time, but Nodoka defends her in front of the student council. Yui is still sick from her cold, which she may have contracted from wearing a short yukata for too long. As the band struggles to make do with Azusa as lead guitarist, Yui allegedly arrives with a cold. Her playing, however, is too perfect, and when she accidentally misspells her honorifics, it is revealed that she is actually Yui, who was able to play after only a few days of practice. Yui appears but is still unable to play, so Mio advises her to stay at home and rest until the day of the live performance. Yui eventually arrives on time, but she forgets her guitar at home, so Sawako fills in for her while she goes to retrieve it. Yui returns in time for the second song, and the performance is successful, with the band even performing an encore. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy this video.